Something about only turning left and where failed F1 drivers go to die? Roll titles. Imagine a world where a 7-time NASCAR champion, a 3-time Australian Touring Car champion, and a Formula 1 driver with 10 years experience, 179 Grand Prix starts and 10 podiums are fighting for Rookie of the Year. But Scott McLaughlin and Jimmy Johnson aside, another ex-F1 driver is heading stateside to take part in the Ultimate American Open Wheel Championship. Sans ovals. And people seem to be divided, because you've got one side of the argument where people are happy that Romain has got a drive after that horrendous accident at Bahrain at the end of last season, and the other side are rolling their eyes back in their heads and going, "Ha! Grosjean crash, lol, memes." And the latter of those people are what we call bellends. And yes, Romain has had his fair share of accidents over the years, but that one in Bahrain was exactly that. An accident. But I guess reputation precedes you, yada yada yada. It's kind of like the avoid anybody in iRacing that has 3 names or more meme. They're not always going to fire it into a gap that barely exists and crash you out of the race on the final lap, but more often than not they do. There's also this belief that Indycar, like Formula E, is where the old and washed up F1 drivers go to die because they weren't good enough for Formula 1, because Formula 1 is the pinnacle and apparently you're only a good driver if you make it to Formula 1. And that's not true. Sebastian Loeb is one of the greatest drivers of all time. Yeah, I said it. But what if I told you that out of the drivers that are confirmed so far for IndyCar in 2021, only Grosjean, Sato, Ericsson and Rossi are ex-F1 drivers? Montoya and Bourdais are excluded because they went from kart/champ car to Formula 1 and then went back. Meanwhile, out of the 24 drivers taking part in Formula E this season, only 5 of them are so-called F1 rejects. Van Dorn, Degrassi, Wehrlein, Buemi and Verne. But if you want to be pedantic and add Andre Lotter in there as well, go right ahead. I mean, he only did 1 race, it doesn't really count. Oh god, I just realised Grosjean and Ericsson are going to be racing on the same track. It's just going to be Ericsson hit us, Ericsson hit us, Ericsson hit us, haha, memes. Fuck off. Grosjean is actually going to a highly competitive series. Anybody can win the Indy 500 if the odds are in your favour, and the cars are all the same Dallara IR18, so it's all down to driver input and skill, as opposed to spending huge money on a car and just running away with the title. And yes, he has turned down the chance to race on the ovals, but in the grand scheme of things, he's not actually missing anything. There are 3 oval races plus the Indy 500, and the rest of the season is a 13-round mix of road and street circuits. And of course, most of the avoidance of these ovals is because of that accident, and he doesn't want to put his wife and kids through that again, which is understandable because oval racing is not easy. 240 miles an hour at the Indy 500, inches from a wall, and having all those guys and girls around you. And your front end's quite tight because, well, dirty air is still a thing even in an IndyCar. One slip up because of your own error, or someone else's, or something going wrong with the car, and it's a trip to the hospital. And I'm not exaggerating here, you will most likely end up in a hospital. In just the last 10 years, Sebastian Bourdais crashed at Indianapolis in 2017, and he broke his pelvis, and he's one of the top American open wheel stars. James Hinchcliffe got his femoral artery pierced by a piece of suspension after a crash at Indianapolis, and he almost bled to death in his own car. Robert Wickens stacked it at Pocono a couple of years back, and he's paralysed from the waist down for life. And then there's Dan Weldon. I said it myself. I watched that man die. And Justin Wilson was hit in the head by a piece of debris at Pocono, and he too died. And these are the most serious of the serious accidents. You add it all up, and it's effectively a 20% mortality rate in a decade. And out of those drivers I just listed, only 2 were because of driver error. Bourdais tried to correct a snap, and Hinch just made a mistake and hit the wall. The 2 who were killed in someone else's accident. Even Fernando Alonso, labelled by fans as the best driver of his generation, he put it in a wall last year. Scott Dixon in 2017 was inches from serious injury when he got air and landed on top of a barrier upside down, and Helio Castroneves just yeeted it underneath. That could have been nasty. So it's not just turning left. I mean, in fact, these are guys who should go to Vegas and put everything they own on one specific number. They'd probably win with the luck they have. Plus, Michael Schumacher said ovals were too dangerous and 240 miles an hour inches from a concrete wall wasn't his idea of fun. So if he said so, then Grosjean's well within his rights to do so as well. I don't know what some people are thinking. Tony Kanaan's doing the ovals and he's, what, 50 now? Yeah, well, TK's been doing ovals since A, the mental years of kart, and B, for about 25 years. Grosjean is 34 and an IndyCar rookie. It's his first time. He's not got youth on his side anymore. Oval racing takes a lot of concentration that he probably just doesn't have. And like I've said, it ain't easy. And there's no power steering. The last time Grosjean drove a car with no power steering is probably Formula Ford. Scott McLaughlin's, what, 24? You know, he's got youth on his side. But let's face it, there are 3 forms of motorsport you have to be certified insane to want to attempt. Rallying, Isle of Man TT, and Superspeedway in an IndyCar. Especially if it's at Pocono. With Scott McLaughlin also having a crack at IndyCar this season, thanks to his ties with Penske and his American wife, it's going to be a great watch, and I might have to get a subscription to whatever service is providing it here in the UK so that I can actually watch it. You know, Scotty Mac's one of my favourite drivers, and I'm interested in following it all the way through this season. That's not to say I don't like IndyCar. I do. But I'm actually excited for the season to get going this year. IndyCar is back on the up. A stacked grid of international drivers, 3 disciplines of racing, champions of other series taking part. It's like the 90s all over again. Only took 25 years, a civil war and an F1 champion attempting the biggest race of the year. Wasn't that split a giant waste of time? So there we go. Quick thoughts on Monsieur Grosjean heading stateside. Leave your thoughts in the comments section and get a discussion going, because that's why I do this series, isn't it? So thanks for watching. If you think I made some good points, give it one of them. And if you want more talking head opinion pieces and stuff, click or tap subscribe with the bell on so you get all the latest. Massive thanks, as always, go out to the good people of Patreon for their continued support. If you wish to join them, or just join in the Discord bants and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, all the links are in the description box for you. Shirt of the day, Bare Naked Ladies Tour 2015. Nice. So until next time, I've been AdmiralLaWind. Have a great day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again soon for another video. So until then, goodbye.